Hey, everybody, welcome back to Fireside 42 with your host, me, Rob Weldon, and I also have help.
Yeah, help is the right word. Help!
Yeah, this is not going well. Okay.
Best intro we've had so far.
Yeah, so this week, you guys.
Go ahead. You can. Go ahead. Talk.
I'm trying.
Go ahead. You can.
You guys are ruining my thing. So this week, we're talking to Billy Quigg. Hi, Billy.
Hi.
I really appreciate you being respectful and kind and also quiet.
Hard to get a word in edgewise, it sounds like.
And we also talked to Steve Cochran. Hi, Steve. How are you?
Hello.
Everybody's here. All right. So normally I don't let them guests be part of the intro or the outro,
So we're not here. Go ahead.
Tony is also here as
I'm
always.
also here, yeah.
Y'all are really screwing up our rhythm. It's all right. We're gonna mix it up.
I know, you're going to do it again anyway. I know that.
No, we're gonna take this. This is good.
So
Yeah, this is cool.
Yeah. All right. So, do we have anything we need to say before we get into this?
Yeah, actually, we do. So, really, one correction from the last episode that we had with Lisa and Yogi.
Mm-hmm.
We had a piece in there on the dependent scholarship program. And in that podcast, we said it was stated, 25 applicants at $2,000 per applicant.
Mm-hmm.
That's actually 20 applicants, and they get awarded $2,500 of scholarship. So the money's the same overall. So instead of 25 applicants, we only have 20, but they get more money. Instead of $2,000, they get $2,500.
Well, that's an easy mistake to make.
Yeah,
so that's
it
not
is.
a big deal. Okay.
It's no big deal, but just wanted to kind of put that out there.
All right. If you guys haven't listened to that episode, go back to listen to that episode and then come back and listen to this episode. And yeah, let's get into it. Hey, you guys just got back from Europe.
That's true. We got back a couple weeks ago from our travels to Wolfsburg to attend the Global Works Council Conference.
That's cool. Did you guys have a good time?
Yeah, it's a very good learning experience. Very little sightseeing goes on there. It's from breakfast to dinner. They have you doing something every day, but you get to intermingle with a lot of your coworkers from around the world that you never would get a chance to. Hear what if they're dealing with the same problems you are, and a lot of times they are. It's the same issues. It's just a different part of the world.
I see. Well, I want to talk all about that. I got lots of questions about the Works Council, but before we do that, I think it would probably be a little bit easier if we started with Volkswagen stuff here in Chattanooga.
Okay.
I want to talk a little bit about who your counterparts are and how that kind of dynamic works, because there's some confusion on who you're bargaining with and what powers they have to say yes or to say no, or you know what I mean?
Yeah, so I guess you say the comparison from each side would be where we have a bargaining committee here. We elected them through our peers, and they elected who we wanted to represent them, and they become the bargaining committee. Broke out into little subcategories of each areas of expertise for people. So the company also chose their side about the same thing. Most of their people come from HR or sometimes some salary workers, supervisors and stuff, and mostly it's HR and clerical people and stuff that are in these meetings with us. So we kind of go back and forth over an item. We choose an item. Here's a demand. We think this. We think that. Here's some language. We discuss the language, clarify the language. And we usually go back to our separate corners, I guess you'd call it, and change it, however we want to change it, and we give back to us. The difference is that in the room in these committees, the people who can make that decision on the worker side is us. We make the decision. Our committee is right here, right now. We can go back and talk to them in 10 minutes, have a decision, and come back out. It seems like the company side of things, is those people aren't here maybe. It always seems like it takes them days or weeks to give an answer to something we have a question about. So we're not bargaining with people in the room who can actually make a decision. It always has to be taken back to their team and going over by their team and stuff. And I kind of understand that. We do that same thing, but we can have an answer in 15, 20 minutes. It takes them days to weeks to have an answer. So that's kind of the difference in it. We've yet to really figure out why or who or any of that stuff. It's just, and that's not a normal bargaining thing. Usually you know pretty good who's with you. And if they tell you, hey, we can probably do this, it usually happens. So, but here it's not so much as clean as that it usually is at other bargaining locations.
So for our side, you and Josh Epperson, you guys are the co-chairs for the members, the elected members.
That's correct.
Right? And then Chuck Browning is
he's our lead negotiator.
Okay, so he's our lead negotiator. He's from International. He's a negotiating expert.
Yes.
Right? His counterpart is Christina Wilson.
That is correct.
Is that right? So does she have the same
Well, if you compare those two to them, I can see where like Chuck would never make a decision upon himself. He always brings it back to our committee to decide. Because we are the governing body of our side. So, but as far as the Christina's side it's still a very questionable how they do it. And the reason I say it's because like we feel like she should have some kind of insight on what's available and what's not, what can be attained, what cannot. But it always seems to be where it's unclear if she really does. You know, we're not saying she don't. We just don't really know. You know, she may have the total power to do what she wants to do, but we've yet to experience that. So I don't know whether or not it's just a thing where she's doing her due diligence with her team, or if it's just the fact that somebody else has to approve it. We really don't know that part. We just know our part is that in this room, we make our decisions right in the room. There's nobody above us. We are the deciding part of it. So it's just our side's a lot more smooth and a lot more accountable as far as being able to answer things faster. Then it seems to me that the company just has a harder time of doing it for some reason.
We really don't even know how many layers there are to the onion on the company side, if that makes sense. Is Christina the one? Is there someone she has to go to above her? How does that play out? Is there a legal department they go through? So we're still trying to figure that out because they have not made it clear to us. They haven't given us any indication. And like Steve said, she may very well have the authority. Have we seen that? No. But we still don't know who makes those decisions. And no matter what they say, it still takes days, weeks, days in the subcommittee usually, or a week to come up with an answer. You know, skilled trades, I'll use that for example. If they have something they talk about Tuesday, it may be the following Tuesday or maybe the Tuesday after that before they have an answer on that particular subject. In healthcare, one of the committees I'm on, it's the same way. They've got to run it through, it seems like 5 different people just to even come up with an answer to a simple question.
Are they doing that on purpose, you think? I mean, I know you can't read anybody's mind, but I mean, or is it incompetence? Or because there's another name on here that I want to talk about, Garrett Spangler. I know that Chuck just had a meeting with him. I know that he's a player in this. I know that he's Christina's boss, right? But if she's got all the negotiating power, why do we have to keep going to him? Like, what's going on? And we've got above him even, right? At some points.
Yes, so of course. I mean, I know been told many times we're one little lonely plant in the South, and there's no other connections but that. That's just not true. I mean, there are things that have to be decided on a much higher level. But there's also some things they're very local. As far as if they're doing it on purpose or not, you know, at this point, it all has to be intentional. I can understand in the beginning, maybe not, but now to the point we've been doing this for 10, 11 months, they should have their system down pretty well where they're more efficient. And there's a whole lot less to be done now. So you'd think just by clearing things off the board, when you start getting your pieces off the board, things should get faster and faster and faster. But they actually didn't. They actually got slower and slower and slower and slower. As the more we got done, the slower it went. So that kind of part's kind of strange too. It's there are some times where there is a strategy to do. Whether or not they're running that or not, we don't know. We can assume things, we don't know. But it just seems like they're just trying to wait everybody out, get everybody disgruntled on the floor, mad, just take what we offer you and go about your business. But there are quite a few things left that can't go unanswered, you know, and they don't really cost money. They're more commitments. You know, you're going to commit the company's going to commit to us having jobs, you know, make sure they stay here for the length of things. So that's the thing. There's several things that shouldn't be a big deal because they're not really money. They should just commit to us that they're going to not get rid of everybody as soon as we sign a contract, you know.
I mean, yeah, maybe this is the wrong time to ask, but I'm gonna, I guess. So there's 2 big ones, right? A no sell clause, right? We don't want them to sell the plant, right? And then we don't want them to. Let me rephrase that. If they sell the plant, we want to make sure that the contract goes with the plant.
Absolutely.
Right? That's what we're looking for.
Yeah.
But then we don't want them to close the plant. We want them to vow to us to not close the plant. Now, that doesn't cost them any money, right? It's just what are they doing? Is it a power play on their part? Are they scared? Is it them trying to maintain control because they've had it for so long? What's going on?
So all you can do is look at history, right? You can't read anybody's mind. I'm not in a room with them. But how many times over the years have they threatened that? Oh, we're going to close your plant if you don't do this. If you vote yes for the union, we're going to close your plant. It's just a constant scare tactic threat. Only thing that I can figure this logic is that if we take that away, what are they going to use? Now the fear factor goes away for that topic's gone. If you have an agreement that you ain't going to close the plant for 4 years or 5 years or 6 years or 2 years or however long the contract is, you can't play that game no more with people. You can't pull at their heart saying you're going to lose everything you got if you don't do X, Y, or Z. That part's gone. If y'all don't agree to go to this shift, we're going to have to shut the plant down. If you don't agree to do this, we're going to have to do this. So that takes away a little bit of their leverage over people's emotions. That's the only thing I can think of.
Do you think that's why they keep doing an end around on you guys, like when they force text us their proposals, so that, because they always leave that part out, right? Or they sensationalize some insufficient version of that, so that we come to you guys and we're like, we want this contract, this one that they gave us, so that they don't have to do that stuff. Do you think that that's what they're trying to do?
It's simply them trying to get off as cheap as possible. When they present it to the membership and say, look at all these things we've given you, but they don't even talk about all the other things that are just as important: job security, healthcare, things like that. They think that it's going to drive membership to say, yeah, we should vote on that. Yeah, it's great. And they can do their little videos, but when we present to membership, hey, this is what they said, this is what it actually means, it kind of takes the venom out of it. But it's all about trying to get off as cheaply as possible. They're just like any other business.
But I go back to the job security part, the no sale and the I don't remember what the term is. The
sale of operations.
Sale of operations and the no sale clause. Okay, so those don't cost us any money, right? Or it doesn't cost the company any money.
Plant
right?
closing moratorium, same way.
Right. So I guess what I'm getting at is, in their offers, that's never in there, right?
Yeah.
I'm wondering if you think, it seems to me like that might be a bargaining strategy on their part to get us to pressure you to put a contract on the table that doesn't have that by not going through you. They have to know that you guys aren't going to agree to a contract that doesn't have those things, right?
Of course.
But I think they think that we're stupid enough that we will accept a contract that doesn't have that. So that's why they keep forcing that into us. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and that's why I personally like when they do this. I like when they text y'all something out there about, well, we're offering you this, this, and this. What happens then is we have an influx of people coming off the floor saying, well, what's this about? What's this about? So then we can explain to them what's actually being offered. And they go, so Volkswagen is not telling us the complete truth. And I go, exactly. So every time they do one of those things, it stirs people up on the floor. That's good. It creates churn, which means people come up here and say, well, they're offering this. What exactly is it? And we tell them, I wish we knew too. I can't tell you how many times this profit sharing thing's been put out there. They're going to do profit sharing. We have yet to really see a clear picture of what that really is. Their last offer is if we make a certain amount of money, a profit, then we'll start bargaining about if you get any or not. Mm-hmm. Guys, that's not. I'm confused on that. Those stuff like that. I'm like, so that's nothing. Mm-hmm. It's nothing. That's not a profit sharing agreement. So it's just kind of like it's good. I like when they do it. Heck, I wish they'd do more of it, honestly, because every time the company does something like that, we get to educate our people about really what's going on behind the scenes. It's kind of a good thing, and we wish more people show up. If you got a question, if you hear a rumor, come up here, bring it up here. All we can do is show you the facts we have. But it's hard to prove a conspiracy when it's not true. You can say there's no truth to that. You can look at everything we got, but we like it. Bring them on.
So nobody should be surprised, because it's basically the same thing they've done for the last 15 years. They tell you something, it's a half-truth. They get people riled up, scared, whatever it may be. And then we start having conversations, and then we show this is what they're saying, but this is the actual truth. So it's the same thing they've been doing the whole time. It's create fear, create people, get a rise out of them.
No new playbook for these guys.
I also think it's something to do with the community also.
The broader community or the community in the plant? I
think the broader community. Yeah. I think that those, even though they're done internally, there's still people on that list that don't work here anymore. They're still getting these things. Sometimes the media gets a hold of it and they put it in their papers. I think that's all designed, too, to put pressure on family members to say, well, I don't know why that's the best thing I've ever seen. Y'all should do that. So that's kind of a tactic, too, that's used. So I'm sure they're part of their strategy is to get the public involved in it to a point where they're putting pressure on their family members to come up here and put pressure on us. And that's okay. We're going to have pressure. We're going to have some hard decisions and stuff, and we welcome that. We're not hiding from anybody or anything. Just whatever concern there is, just come up here. If the company told you this, come up here. Whatever it is, reach out to us, and we'll figure it out together and explain best we can what really is meant by that.
All I'll say is when you hear those videos and you hear sort of the descriptor they put beforehand, well, we can't afford this. We got to make sure that we do things to protect our business. Every company says that going into union negotiations. The big three said that. Once they got done with negotiations, the next year they had record profits.
Yeah, they did.
So when you hear this about being one plan or, we can't afford these things, we have to make sure that it's a deal that's good for the employees, for the community, and the company. Well, yeah, we want to make sure that we don't bargain ourselves out of a job. That's obvious. But they keep saying that lie, just like any other company does. And you can go back and look at the big three negotiations and see how all three said the same thing, and then the next year turn around and have a record of profits.
I want to talk about the Works Council. I don't understand the Works Council, and I want to. And you guys just got back from there. You guys have been there multiple times.
Steve has.
I've been there. I've been there quite a few times, so I know their system pretty well. The thing to understand about a Works Council, it's different in every location they have. So there's not like a cookie cutter, this is what it is, this is what it ain't. So like in Germany, IG Metall, who's their union, bargains the contracts. The Works Council polices the contract inside the plant. You see what I'm saying? So their union reps are considered to be Works Council. And they got all kinds of stuff set up where they're part of the grievance procedure. They're part of all kinds of stuff. They make decisions on many things. They have their structure set up to where like they have to be involved in calling overtime or firing people and stuff. But not every location is like that. But so basically what it is a Works Council, the basic need and the basic job is basically being informed. So in other words, the company will they inform the Works Council reps like they do anybody else. So in other words, they don't have the power of the highest ranking person here, but they have the information. So basically, they'll be in every meeting, and it also gives a voice of how a decision would affect the worker. Mm-hmm. So for example, here, just in thinking of it, and maybe possibly working this way or not, that's something we had to decide ourselves how we want it to work. Basically, where they're in a meeting, they're discussing things about the production model or whatever it is. And the Works Council guy can be in there and say, well, that's against contract. We can't do that because of this reason. So they get to input the worker's side into every meeting they have. So that's the best thing we don't have as far as any union in the United States has. They don't get to sit in at every single meeting, the decision-making meetings, or none of that stuff. So what happens is you elect those people to be your representative in the Works Council. They have quarterly meetings, and they have one annual that it's global. Like everybody shows up in Germany, they go through little spiels and stuff about, what's going on here and there. You get to hear straight from the company. And so the people that I like to call the people who our management team here are afraid of, the Vollmers and the Schaefers and the Blooms and all the people, they're all there. And they have to give reports out to the workers about what's going on with the company. And it's the same exact reports they give out to everybody. So we get to hear firsthand, the representatives, of what's going on with the company, what they're planning to do, how they're going to do it, what they want to do. And it's really interesting to see how things are going on at different locations. It's actually pretty amazing how much Volkswagen Germany, the mother, actually understands what's going on at a bunch of these locations. They might not understand what's going on personnel-wise, but they understand what's going on in each individual plant pretty well. Like, what's going on, how's it selling, what's their production like, is the quality good? They know a lot of these things, and it's pretty amazing how much they actually do know. And it's neat that they actually share that with just the ordinary worker who's been elected by the other workers to be there. I mean, they share pretty much everything. You don't get to hear the back and forth behind the scenes, but you get to hear the same presentation they'd give to a shareholder or anybody else. It's the same presentation.
So the Works Council sent representatives here not too long ago.
That is correct.
What role do they play, if any, in our bargaining process? Why did they come here? What did they do? What was their purpose?
So basically, what they come to do is just to see if there was anything that they could do in order to help streamline some things, clarify some things with the company, how they handle certain things, or this, that, and other. They were not here to say, Volkswagen, you must do this, you got to do that. They wouldn't do that anywhere. And their entire business model, I guess you'd call it, is compromise. Compromise, compromise, compromise. It's never you will or you shall. It's always, this is why we should, and we'll work together to make sure it gets that way. That's their model. That's what they want to do. It's all co-determination. Sometimes some people believe in that, some people don't, but that is their model, though. So they'll never say, if you don't do this, I'm gonna make sure you get terminated or fired. That's not even how they do it. So basically, they come here just to see what we're asking for, get more details as they could, see if it was something that was just obscenely stupid. You know, like, look, guys, you're never going to get this. You're never going to get that. They would have told us. They don't mind telling us. They've told me some hard truths in the past, too. It's just see how it's going to make sure, because they hear things, too, from the company side. They just want to come here and make sure that their understanding of what's going on is what is going on.
So back up a little bit. When they came here, Chuck explained everything.
Yes.
He laid it all out.
Yep.
Put all of our cards on the table.
Everything.
At any point during any of that presentation or after or while you guys were in Germany, did anybody come to you and say, we appreciate what you're asking for? Volkswagen can't afford that.
Nope.
Did they say anything remotely close to that? Like, I know nobody said we can.
All they did was said that you understand that the condition of the company right now is not as strong as it has been in the past. So we've got to understand that and make some compromises. That's all they said. So, and it is never, you can't ask for this or you can't ask for that. But even that, we laid it out exactly what we're trying to get to. It's simple. It's a standard. Let's just make it simple as we can. There is a standard in the United States that every automotive worker who is represented by the United Auto Workers has. There's a standard to it.
Mm-hmm.
We want the standard. That's just what we want. I mean, we're not asking for more, not asking for less. We want the standard. And by the end of this contract, we want to be at the standard. So in their eyes, that's understandable, right?
Right.
So we need to work some kind of thing out to where we can get there and also be mindful of the company in the situation they're in. And that's what we're trying to do. That's why we just want like little small increments over time, you know. If we, like, for example, we're asking for cost-free insurance. We're asking for that.
All right.
Do we want it tomorrow? Well, of course. Are we going to get it tomorrow? No. So we said, okay, so let's figure out a way to get as close as we can to that no cost by the end of the contract. Let's figure something out. Mm-hmm. That's what is considered to be co-determination. You understand what the company's going through. You understand it. I get it. But at the same time, it's also understandable. We want that standard. So that's the whole thing, is that you got to get there. And that's what we want to do. We're willing to compromise on a lot of things to get to our standard. You know, there's many ways to do it.
Okay, that makes sense. I guess another thing, if we get everything that we're asking for, mm-hmm. right, we will still be getting paid less than our counterparts in Europe. And what's more is, even if we bring it up to par, that we're getting paid the same as they're getting paid, we still only represent 1/125th of their workforce, or roughly?
Over 600,000 workers in the company, and we're like 4,600 here, counting salary and everybody.
Yeah,
it's very little. So we don't even our standard for unionized workers is less than the standard in Germany for their unionized workers at automotive. And on top of that, Volkswagen pays more than the standard for Germany at their German plants. They pay more than the standard. Mm-hmm. But the standard is actually better than our standard. But it's so we try to compare that. Like, they say you make $41 an hour. I'm like, yeah. After taxes, I don't. So my understanding in Germany and stuff, they don't have that breakdown that we have. They have it where this is the money you make is the money you bring home. So they consider that's what they make. They look at more of that's just what you got to pay. So my income is only what I get paid per hour to bring home my house. So that's kind of the way they view things. So not everything over there is just automatically transferred over here. Same thing goes with the buying stuff. So if you go over there and it says $349 on the sticker, it's $349. It's no more, nothing more than add to it. So all that stuff is already included in all that. So when they get their money, they base it off of everything's already paid for. This is how much I got left. So they don't even really focus on all the taxes stuff they pay out. It's more of they focus on what is left. So when they say they make X amount of money, they say, I don't make no $100-something thousand a year. I only make 57. And you go, golly, we make more than they do. Well, you got to count all the stuff they already paid. They don't even count. Mm-hmm. There's a little difference in the culture in that stuff, and that's why it's not as easy as just saying, what do you make over there and what do we make over there? We just know our standard is lower than their standard.
And that's all we're asking for is the standard.
Yep.
Anything else you think is important? I thought this would be a longer conversation, but
so right now where we sit today, the company is not losing anything. You know, they're still making every car we want them to make. They're still hitting their numbers they want to make, everything else. So it's kind of like it's really not affecting anything. If we was to do something that changed that narrative, say if we was to take a strike vote, and we said, you know what, we're willing to not build your product until you take our demands seriously. That's when it becomes detrimental to the company. That's when they'll get more forceful in what they push to do.
So
with us and with them too, they'll say, "Hey, we got to figure something out." They'll put pressure on both sides.
they're gonna wait till that happens. You think?
I ain't gonna say it's a wait. It's just it's more like an opportunity to intervene. Does that make sense? Like, so they will not infuse yourself into our business. So in other words, they'll never come here and say, "You can't ask for that. You must give them that." They're never going to do that kind of stuff.
So maybe from their mindset, they're giving our management the opportunity to succeed, to do the right thing, to make the right decisions,
of course, yes,
before they step in.
Yeah,
because it's going to be worse than that if we go on strike, right? I mean, they're going to mass media is going to come out here. Yeah. They're going to put one of us on television, and we're going to say exactly what we think, and it's going to make Volkswagen look not nice.
The company does not fear that. I'm confident that the people here, the local management here, is convinced them that we don't have the fortitude to even go on strike. Like we won't do it. You know, look, them guys, they won't do it. They're going to take what we tell them to take because they will. You know, they'll comply because we said so. And we've got to change that narrative. We just have to change that narrative. We must. The company prides himself on cooperation. Mm-hmm. They pride themselves on it. So like work stoppages and stuff and everything else is not real good. For example, Mexico. So I think it was last year before, the Volkswagen plant in Mexico had to vote in a new contract. Mm-hmm. This is the first time they ever had to vote on it. The employees get to vote on it. It was kind of like the union just bargained it and the workers had to have it. You know, so that it's no longer there anymore. I think they failed like 3 times. And so when that starts happening, though, the Works Council flew to Mexico and try to figure out. They try to work with both sides, try to get them to come to a compromise. They're kind of like I ain't gonna say like an intermediary, but they kind of are like an intermediator because, but they don't. They allow both sides to try to make their own decisions. They're never going to be a governing body of, we already know you got to do this because we said so. That's not how they roll. That's not what they do. Mm-hmm. It's more of when you come to the point where you can't do it, they'll get in there and try to push both sides to get something done, try to compromise on things. And that's basically what they did when they were here. You know, they basically told the company, you know, that look, we feel like there's room to compromise on all their issues, and we feel like y'all should work very hard in doing so. You know, we actually prioritize for the company, you know, what's the most important things we want and everything else, but they're not using it. They're just not using it. I mean, they're choosing to go after other things, you know, that aren't as important to the workers than some things are. Like medical insurance is very, very important. You know, if anything, you don't want it to get worse. Mm-hmm. So at least you want to get it where you can't change it, right? I mean, we at least want that. No matter what, right. They got to at least say they're not going to change it. But whenever we say, okay, that's a very big, high top priority, but they don't change what they're offering. Right now, they're offering nothing. I mean, we'll take $20 a month off your premiums, but that's it. You know, maybe we'll deduction maybe go down $500, but that's it. You know, and people are like, well, you know, but there's a lot more to that though. Medications that they're covered and not covered and kicked off the list and on the list. There's a lot of things to that medical thing. It's just more than what's coming out of your pocket, not coming out of your pocket. You know, where you go to the doctor and stuff, and all those things can be bargained, but they're not even entertaining those things, and we know that's very important to people, and they're not really even talking about that with us right now. They're talking about some other things that we're like, they're important too, but we still got this. This is a big one. You know, this is the one we really need a lot of stuff about. You know. Something else the boys can do on the floor down there. You see some down there. You see Christina down there. Express your frustrations with them.
I've never seen her in body shop. I don't know if she knows where body shop is.
Well, that's something, and it's funny you bring that up, Steve, because it kind of ties in to the Works Council and the culture in Germany and everything. People here seems like they're afraid to approach management. Someone like Christina or Henning or Dr. Fulmer, whenever he comes around. In Germany, it was the exact opposite. We walked up to Oliver Bloom, talked to him, to Gunnar Killian, all of them. We talk to them just like we're talking now, as equals. And the reason I bring that up is when you see Christina, you can talk to her. You can say, hey, I'm wondering why it's taking so long. I'm getting frustrated. What are you guys doing to move this along? You have every right to do that. And I think people in Chattanooga forget because the culture's so different, because it's so different than what it's supposed to be here as opposed to what it is in Germany. And I bring that up because while we were there, I never once felt like I was talking to someone above me. I felt like I truly was talking to equals. And I can't wait for the workers here to understand that culture to where they actually feel empowered to bring these and address these issues with management when they feel the need to. There's times I remember talking to Chris Glover or Henning talking about, hey, we've brought this up. There's an issue. They can't seem to do anything. Can you look at it? And just having that conversation, being able to stand up and say, hey, this is what's going on. I can't wait for the rest of the membership to know that they have that power and they don't have to be intimidated. They don't have to worry that, yeah, that's the CEO of the plan or whatever title they give them. We're equals. Right. That's the difference. And I think that's where co-determination comes in, and why people here don't really understand the Works Council is because there is that nature of co-determination. They do this together. They make compromises. They find out what each other can live with, giving up and taking. And it's a completely different mindset than what we're used to in America. So I'm really excited for people to see how that's going to change inside the plant, how it's going to feel different. The things that we've sought for in a union is that treatment, that equality, being able to speak our minds, not without fear of retaliation, things like that. And we have our union, and we're going to have language that protects us. We're going to have representatives for that. But it should have always been that way at this company. It should have always been that you have the ability to speak equally. With everything that they have preached to us about the Volkswagen way, the model, all that stuff, you already have that ability with that open door policy. You already have that ability because you're equals. So I'm really looking forward to when workers finally see that they are equal to the people they consider their superiors.
To be clear, when we were in Germany, we could walk up to anybody we wanted to and talk to. That is correct. Billy brought up a fellow by the name of Gunther Killian. He was our head of labor relations for the entire group. So he's like the head of HR of their entire company. And Billy Quigg talked to him, I talked to him and stuff, and the next Friday they fired him. I don't know if I talked to Billy or not. It may cost you your job, but
I'm the angel of death when it comes to positions in this company, apparently.
But that was just a.
Is it too late to disinvite you from my podcast, Bill?
Yeah. No, we also got a new CFO of North America too. I can't remember his name now, but we got a brand new one of those that just introduced last week also. So that might have been holding up some stuff too with our contract because he's had part of the money talks, right? Mm-hmm. So maybe because they were transferring to a different person, maybe that was a problem while we were going so slow. But we don't know those things. And we may not ever know. We may not ever know what causes us to move forward or not move forward. I just know that sitting here and waiting on the company is not the best way to get it done.
I know a way that we can get the company to move, and that's up to the membership and whether or not they want to stand together in solidarity. When the company hears your voice, then they'll move.
Well, shit. All right. When we stand up and say we're done, no more, then we'll see them move. So let's quit there on that note. Leave it up to the team members listening. Gentlemen, I appreciate you coming on. Billy, Steve, thank you.
Thank you for inviting us. I appreciate it.
Yeah,
thank you, Rob.
Thanks for all the hard work you guys do. Keep it up. And this is Fireside 42. We're out. All right, folks. That was our episode. Once again, guys, thanks for coming in and clearing up some of this. We could probably do 4 episodes on this stuff, right? I mean, it's a lot.
It is. The whole thing.
Now you're going to be quiet.
The whole thing is a lot.
You could do 4 episodes out of what Steve did this morning.
Okay.
Hey, Robert, you know what I thought was really good about this episode? I'm glad we didn't open with spoilers because there was a lot of cool stuff that they talked about. Mm-hmm. Just a little background about me. I was born in the Netherlands, didn't leave the country until I was 27, so I have that culture, and then I moved here. So I think Billy and Steve really get that culture of what's going on in Europe, how Germany looks at things, how they treat people, co-determination, all those things. I think that's really important, and I'm really glad that they picked up on that because that's a really big piece of why things are going different over there than over here. So the piece on... Steve, shut up.
You're making this hard. The more you do this, the more work you're making him do.
I love it. No, the piece on equal, being equals in leadership and workers on the floor, that's something that I still do over here because I was so used to over there. I know you guys do it too. I would easily speak to leadership without any problems. I never felt there was a barrier. But they make it seem that there's a barrier, even though they want you to believe that, you can come see us. Like, some people tell us you can come to our office, you can send us emails with your concerns and all that stuff. That's just not really true because people are not, aware or feel like they have that option to speak to leadership, which they do, but they're just not used to it. That's just not our culture here.
Yeah, you shouldn't have to feel like you're walking on glass when you talk leadership too. I mean, after all, they have an important job to do up here, right? But they're not earning their checks. We are. You know what I mean? So there should be a co-respect there. But I thought that was pretty interesting too.
How many episodes have you done, by the way?
Oh, that's what I was going to talk about. Hey, so good news. We're going to kind of celebrate a little bit. Thanks for reminding me. This is our 10th episode, which is a small step, right? But, average people that get into podcasting, they go 4 episodes and they're like, oh, this is work. I don't want to do this anymore. But we made it all the way to 10. So go us. We got a lot more to come. We're not done. We're going to evolve and grow the podcast and the channel and make this do something great.
I just want one of these setups in my house, man. It's cool.
You feel like a badass talking on this microphone, don't you?
Man, I'm going to be Stevie Steve in a minute and pull out some lyrics.
Okay, on that note, we're done. This is Fireside 42. We're out.
You got something else to
That's
say,
so bad. I
Steve?
want to go.